Hello, everybody. This is Sheri Flasch with the Esthetician Connection. I have Tina Zillmann with me today. Super excited for our Zoom room education from Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts. Tina is the founder, listen to my voice already, is the founder of Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts. She's an esthetician. She's been doing skincare for a really long time. I sat in one of her classes in Denver. I think it was in somewhere in Colorado. And I said, we gotta get them on the website. I really want them on this website. I started exploring the ARC line and was really impressed. Started playing with the products. Again, really impressed. So cannot recommend them enough. We have them on our website, by the way, which is awesome. We're gonna talk today with Tina. The education is going to be based on layering and stacking treatments, doing peels and using modalities or devices, and kind of the way you can layer and stack them. We have so many questions on the page about that. And Tina's going to go through some protocols, and we're going to have an question and answer section at the end. So you can type your questions in, but just make sure that you know that at the end, we're going to kind of address all those, because during the webinar, you might find that some of them are already answered. And then, of course, we couldn't do a Zoom room education without having a giveaway. So what do we have for this one? I'm going to show you. We are doing one of my favorites, which is, and see if I can get really good. I know it's backwards, guys, but you get to see it. And an EC brush. This is their cranberry enzyme. It's a serum, but it's kind of like a peel. It's got 9% glycolic acid in it and cranberry enzymes. This is something you can apply to your face couple nights in a row, and you're going to get a nice kind of little flaking and a smooth appearance. I don't know about you, but I personally love glycolic. So this is a great at-home treatment for people who don't have the ability to get treatments right now. So this is something you can easily sell to your clients. This is something you can be using at home in between going from here and the time you go back to work. So all you need to do to enter, and 3 of you are going to get this, guys. All you need to do is enter, take a photo of you taking this Zoom class. Anytime over the next hour or so, take a photo of you taking this class, and you want to post it in the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page. That's where you want to post it. And then use that. Tell us what you think of the class, share your ideas, and then you can post using a hashtag EC loves ARC skincare, and that's ARC skincare. So use the hashtag EC loves ARC skincare, and 3 of you are going to win the cranberry exfoliating peel with an Esthetician Connection brush. And we'll pick those probably within the next couple days. So make sure you get your photos up soon, and don't forget to use the hashtag. Tina, I'm super, super, super excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited for this class myself. I've enjoyed listening to you teach in the past. So this is something that I'm going to be listening to very carefully. So thank you again. And as I mentioned earlier, Tina is an esthetician, and she is the founder of Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the webinar over to you, and you can get started.
Thank you so much. And bear with me, because I'm going to click after I talk and introduce. I'm going to kind of bring up our screen and the presentation, and I hope I do it correctly, because I've loved this Zoom. So thanks, Sheri. My name is Tina Zillmann. I'm the founder of Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts and also Skin Rejuvenation Clinic. I'm in the boat just like you guys. I have 4 studios, 4 clinics, 4 med spas that have actually been closed down. As of last month, the 23rd was the last day we could actually do business. So I had to quickly get over the anxiety and the fear of having 40 employees that I had to figure out what to do with. At the same time, trying to figure out how to preserve the business and pay the rents. And so I'm right in there with you guys. I know we're getting a lot of calls about what everyone is doing. And I just want you to know that we're here to give you guys any guidance. What we did was we quickly went into what we call disaster mode, because it was a disaster after they closed our businesses down. And then how could we actually incorporate and bring you guys in and get people working and get people's income coming in. Amazon shouldn't have been the only one that was making money at this time. We were actually trying to teach people how to engage their clients, keep in contact with their clients, and actually get money kind of rolling in. But let me go back to the introduction. I'm Tina Zillmann. I've been doing skincare for over 30 years. I won't say how much over, but over 30 years. I have a birthday coming up in a couple of days. So it's really exciting to be a part of the industry. I don't know, quarantine on my 51 birthday. I don't know if that's going to be fun or not, but I've really enjoyed this time to kind of get everything resituated and caught up. I, again, am the owner of Skin Rejuvenation Clinic. I employ and probably 17, 18 estheticians myself that have been an amazing team during this time. And I went to school pretty much out of high school. Several years after I graduated high school, I went to school in Boston. I went to Elizabeth Grady School of Aesthetics, which has been there forever. I had an amazing education, went through their training program, went through their education, their basically their product knowledge. I taught makeup artistry through them, and then I went to their management program. So I'm very grateful at a very young age that I got such an amazing education. Soon after that, came out and ended up in San Antonio, Texas. Worked with the industry when there was nobody working with the medical industry. I got to work with some burn doctors and plastic surgeons and aftercare. So I got introduced to laser very early on. I am currently now a licensed laser professional. I teach laser, I perform laser. I think it's a great part of what we do. It's in our hands, we understand skin, so I think that we make a really good laser professional. Any questions on any of that, I'd be glad to answer that as well. But so I based our business off of that. Nationally, we have Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts, and it really was out of a need to find a line that had no preservatives, additives, or fragrances when we were re-epithelializing skin, so when we were regrowing skin after laser procedures. And we found early on a way to suppress melanin and be able to put a kind of occlusive bond onto the skin that was different from Crisco, which is what we were using at that time. And we had less of a response with the actual milias that were forming from that. So I had a lot of good knowledge in the beginning. Our skincare line, it says what it does what it says. It's a very easy line to use. It's a very easy line to understand. We stay on top of the growing industry, the keywords, the I guess what you want to say, like the peptides and all of the hyaluronic acids. We try to stay on top of that. We bring a good price product to the market. It's not overpriced, and it really allows you to service all people. When we started our clinics, we wanted the wealthiest of wealthy to somebody that saved their money a whole month just to come to us to be able to afford us. So that has been our practice all along, and it's our practice in our skincare line. So I'm really excited to bring this topic to you guys. It really should be 3 classes. So forgive me for a lot of information that you're not going to get, but know that this will be an expanded class. I'm going to give you a lot of knowledge on peels because I think it's really important to layer peels. I think it's very important to know your skins after people have been coming to you for such a long time. Sometimes you need to give them something a little extra, a little more. And I'm hoping that I can show you guys some ways to kind of push that envelope and give them what they really want. So I'm going to go ahead. Sheri thinks it's a good idea. I'm going to share my screen right now and try to get everybody on with the presentation. All right, perfect. So I did it. I've loved Zoom. This is how we've kept track with with everybody in this time right now. So it's been an amazing tool. All right, so combining treatments. You guys are going to see me refer to a lot of notes because I have quite a few things to make sure I hit on. Combining peels, combining devices, nano-needling versus micro-needling versus ultrasonic. So it's all pretty fun. So layering peels, why do we want to layer peels? I really put a lot of thought into this when we started doing treatments. And, chemical peels use various ingredients that we'll learn about to exfoliate the dead layers of skin. So that's really what we want to kind of go into. We want to exfoliate the dead skin cell. Now, really, I'm going to say a lot of the stuff I'm going to be teaching you doesn't necessarily mean that your state or your insurance actually covers you for what we're going to be talking about, because different states have different rules as far as exfoliation goes. Also, if you've got a medical director versus no medical director. So I'm going to put that out there, because a lot of stuff that I'm going to be telling you about is going to be a lot of gray lines for people that don't work without medical directors, and in some of the states that have really heavy regulations on peels. The peels that I'm going to be teaching you on are going to be a non-buffered peel. They have pHs of 1.9 to 3.0. So they're very rapid and they're very fast. But I'm going to teach you also, you know, the different types of peels. You know, there's a lot of different types of peels, and then in how we actually exfoliate, like where and what am I thinking of? Direction. So what goes first? Do we do an enzyme? Do we do a lactic? Do we do a salicylic? So we're going to talk a lot about that. You know, why layer treatments? Basically, it encourages the skin to act young, so it becomes youthful. When you actually exfoliate the skin, you get a softer, smoother, more even toned skin. It helps diminish fine lines and wrinkles. It softens scars, so acne scars or actually surgical scars or any wounds that you've had. It creates and builds collagen, so it stimulates collagen. It brightens if the skin is discolored or has hyperpigmentation. And it gives just a really dramatic result. If you aren't using peels in every treatment that you do, you might want to look at incorporating some type of exfoliation into what you're doing, because that is the thing, that is the trend, and that is where the most results come from. There are a lot of machines out there, and there are a lot of procedures out there. And I had to wrestle with this a lot, because a lot of the med spas, you know, are becoming our competition if we're not doing med spa services. And so they're jumping on board with all of these machines, and these, they reduce fat and they lift the skin and they tighten. And you know, when you sit in those courses and you talk to a lot of the people, and I encourage you all to do this, because it's very important that you know what your clients are looking at and what they're getting consulted on. We get questions all the time. We might not do several of those procedures, but we know about those procedures. And the reason why is because our clients are asking our advice on it. So a lot of the devices out there that you'll find, really the results are 20% of people have got results, or 30% people got results. You have to be a certain candidate. You have to have the criteria. With peels get results for everybody. It has been around for a long time. It should be in your arsenal. It should be what you're doing, because these are what people want. They want results. They want to see a difference. So I encourage you to really get out there and get a lot of information. And I talk to people daily that are afraid of peels. There is nothing to be afraid of with peels. It is very important to respect the rules of alpha hydroxys, beta hydroxys, any type of peel you're using. Any manufacturer that you pick the line of peels from should have rules, consent forms, should have questions that are asked. So your consultation, and I can't say enough about this, I just did a laser CEU class on consultation and your laser treatments and hair removal. And consultation is going to be the most important service you can do for your client. They get an understanding of what you're talking about. You understand what they want, what their need is, and you have to fulfill that need. So consultation is very important. Another thing that is very important is you know exactly what they're using on their skin. You want to make sure with peels, there are some basic rules. You know, you want to make sure they haven't used Accutane, which is an acne drug, for 6 months prior to them doing a treatment. You want to make sure that they're not using Retin-A the night before they come in. Retin-A actually stimulates the growth of the skin and the exfoliation of the skin. So it tends to make the skin hypersensitive to what we're doing with peels. Flared up eczema, psoriasis, rosacea that's actually chapped or irritated. You want to make sure there's no irritation to the skin. When you are looking at the skin, there are certain things that we are looking for when we do a peel. If you already have an irritated skin, if you have open lesions, if you have acne that is cystic acne and it covers a lot of the skin, if you have acne with blackheads, whiteheads, and cysts, and it's very irritated and inflamed, being red or irritated, you do not want to do a peel. peel is a chemical, and a chemical will only make that react. So if you have a reactive skin, you don't want to put a product on there that's going to react to it. So you want to make sure they haven't waxed, they didn't get their Botox that day, they didn't get their filler that day. You want to make sure it's the Botox and filler is 7 days, or if they're going to get it that day, or if they're going to get filler that day, they actually come in and see you prior to getting the Botox or fillers. We've had a lot of clients that say they had a amazing result with their fillers and their Botox because they did the treatment prior to their injections, and they did not bruise, and it didn't really hurt as much as it normally does. And that's really because we've got the lymphatic system flowing, we had the dead skin cell off, and their skin was just primed and ready for a filler or a Botox. So make sure that that is done afterwards if they're having a beauty day. If they're getting their hair colored, you also want to be careful because a lot of times they'll get hair color on around the forehead. And if you've already peeled that skin, that becomes very sensitive, and that peroxide will actually burn the skin. You want to make sure that they don't have active cold sores, because this will actually stimulate peels, especially if you're double peeling, will stimulate cold sores. So you want to make sure that, and a lot of people that have cold sores already know they have cold sores, they have Beltrex or something that they take prior to, or if they feel something coming on. If not, you want to advise them to make sure that they have a prescription on hand if you're going to be doing these peels or double peels. Allergies, basically to milk, aspirin. Aspirin is salicylic, so you really want to make sure that they're not allergic to aspirin. It's not lactose intolerant, it's allergies to the skin that you want to be aware of. And basically all skin types, you can do different variations of peels on. So it's knowing that skin type and knowing the rules of what peel can be used on one skin type. Again, you should be getting all of this from your manufacturer that you'll be buying your peels from. We have a whole packet that we give out that gives all that information on there. No steam, no towels. We haven't used steam in probably 30 years. When we opened up Skin Rejuvenation Clinic, we have never used a steamer one. And that's because the steam just makes the skin supple. We're making the skin supple by using an exfoliant such as a peel. Steam only adds to the sensitivity of the skin. Also, my belief is that that person that comes in and goes, I break out after I get a facial. Well, steaming makes that skin kind of stimulated, and I think it overstimulates the skin a lot of times, and you do get some breakout afterwards. So it's not my favorite thing. It's also one of the things that in insurance, that steam spits out that hot water, and that's pretty, that usually is a lawsuit. So we just stay away from steamers in general. We can get the skin supple a lot of different ways. It doesn't open a pore. The pore doesn't have the ability to open and close. There's no muscle in there. It just makes the pore supple so that you're able to extract. Well, so does exfoliation, so does a mild scrub, so does an enzyme. So we want to make sure we get all of that, the rules of peeling. You know, the right peel to choose, you know, what peel do you choose when you're doing someone's skin, and what peel do you apply first? We're going to go through several different skin types that are pretty prominent and skins that you will see, and then talk about why we chose that peel, and then what do we apply in first versus second, and the reason why. And so choosing the right peel, there's a lot of peels out there. Peels can also help offer a temporary relief from sensitive skin conditions like rosacea, eczema, and psoriasis. We've seen a lot of good results with those as well. The layering can be also different areas. So you're almost cottailing, or you're a concierge of aesthetics. So certain areas might be a little thicker skin than some of the other areas that might be a little thinner. So there's different peels that you use on different areas. I've already talked with a lot of estheticians that do this with masks. So of course, why not do this with peeling? So in the categories that we'll be talking about, you have alpha hydroxy, which is usually your glycolic acids. Alpha hydroxy actually eats the dead skin cell like a Pac-Man would eat the dots. And I use that analogy because when people are laying in our treatment tables and they're going, no, I don't want to peel, alpha hydroxy or beta hydroxy or polyhydroxys are probably your best choice because they're just going to eat the dead skin cell off, break that bond, and just make the skin softer, smoother, more supple, and more evenly toned. So these are your good choices when you're starting alpha, beta, or polyhydroxys. I really like beta hydroxy and lactic acid. Lactic acid seems to be one that we use quite a bit, and especially in our double peels. I love double peeling with lactic acid. TCA peel, again, depending on your state, some estheticians I know are qualified to do TCA, some are not, because TCA not only does it remove skin, it removes live skin. And with your alphas and your betas and your polyhydroxys, you're just removing that dead skin cell layer. Well, TCA actually goes a little bit deeper than that and actually removes live skin cell. So this is an actual physical peeling peel, and it comes off in layers. The skin is irritated, red, it has to re-epithelialize. You have to use something on top of that to protect the skin while it's re-epithelializing. Same with Resorcinol. I know we use Jesner peel, which is a 14-14 blend or a 7-7 blend. These actually are physical peeling peels. They will sheet peel the skin and give you that nice glow. Now those are going to be used for something a little bit more dramatic, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Low doses of phenol peel. Phenol peel is used in the medical community and usually under sedation in deeper percentages. These are that one that kind of leaves that person kind of glossy and poreless and just really like looks like a burn victim. So phenol's not readily used as much as like your TCAs or your Jesners right now. You have enzymes. Enzymes are like they're different now. So we used to be just use like a papaya or a pineapple. Now we use bromelain, we use cranberry, we use pumpkin. These are basically fermented fruits. These fruits have been fermented to a wine, and the wine and the tannins actually remove the dead skin cell. So a lot of our cleansers actually have these tannins in it, and the tannins will actually eat through dirts, oils, and makeup. So they soften the skin. So what a great way to use these kind of treatments or these kind of peels as a prep to do a deeper peel on somebody. And then of course you have your scrubs, your physical exfoliating scrubs. Your microdermabrasion crystal has been one of the most popular scrubs, and that's using the cremdom from the microdermabrasion whipped into kind of a souffle and used to buff the skin. Now cremdom is the hardest, it's like an inner hardest material you're going to find. It's usually what keeps the shine on tile on floors. So it's a pretty hard substance. So rolling that over the skin, actually buffing it can kind of give someone an at-home microdermabrasion kind of feeling. And then of course you have salts and sugars that are used, almond meal, different things like that. But really the more advanced ones now are those microdermabrasion crystals. You know, who is a candidate for these peels? You know, basically everyone is a candidate for double peeling, and unless they're extremely sensitive, or like I said, if they have raw skin, if they have skin that is irritated or compromised. When I say compromised skin, I mean skin that has redness to it, that is inflamed, and you can actually physically feel heat that's coming from that skin. This is very important that you guys know what to look for on a skin that is compromised or hypersensitive. Also listen to your clients. You know, I've been there as well where I looked at someone's skin and go, oh, you're not sensitive, your skin's just fine. Clients generally know their skin better than we do. And if they say they're hypersensitive or they flare up because of the products, in certain products, listen to them, because that's the truth. I kind of went there and said, no, I know what I'm talking about. And sure enough, the person flared up. So I now go with a consultation of, do you flare up? Are you sensitive? Are you sensitive to any certain products in your skin? So those are the only people that really wouldn't be a candidate for the double peeling, or open wounds or lesions. And I mean like a lot of acne that really needs to be cleaned out or needs to be treated differently than just with peels or extractions. So skin that you normally see that that benefits from this is hyperpigmentation, sun damage, or melasma. the difference between sun damage and melasma is huge. So in the pictures right here, you see melasma. You'll see this irregular shaped one to the up in the left-hand corner, this large irregular shaped patch of darkness. That is what's known as melasma. That is a little bit trickier to treat, and it takes some pre-prep on treating someone like that and some aftercare. So it's not like you're just going to go and peel them and they're going to be better and all that is going to be removed, which is what they really want. But it takes a little bit of time. It took time to get there. It's going to take some time to get off. And we'll go over what to do with that. Now, sun damage, dots, freckles, sunspots, those generally get a really good result from your peeling and your pre and post care that you give them to use at home. Suppressing the melanocytes are going to be important on either hyperpigmentation or sun damage. Suppressing the melanocytes with something like a kojic acid, a hydroquinone, something that just kind of makes that pigmentation kind of go down, and you can take off the staining off the top and just kind of suppresses the melanocytes. That's really what you want to do to pre-prep someone before you actually do a peel. I suggest 7 days prior to doing a peel on this person, you actually suppress the melanocytes. More so for melasma versus sun damage. Sun damage, you can just go do a peel and just get all that skin cell off. So when I'm dealing with someone with hyperpigmentation, such as melasma, what I will do is start them on 7 days of suppressing. I will put them on a lightening cleanser. I'll put them on a lightening serum. I will put them on a full sun block, which is no sun. I will also make sure that they're not used self-tanners, because self-tanners stimulate melanocytes. So even them thinking they're not going in the sun, but they're doing something good for their skin by putting a self-tanner on, they're actually stimulating those melanocytes that I'm trying to actually suppress. So I will do that 7 days before. Then my routine in the room will be, I'll usually pre-prep with a glycolic peel. And we have all of these treatments written out in our protocols, which we'll be glad to send to anybody. But the glycolic peel pre-prep, 15 or 30%, again, depends on the skin. It's about a 2.3 to a 3.0 on these pHs, so they're pretty rapid and fast. Glycolic will go until it hits water, which sometimes can be blood if you leave it on the skin too long. You can get blistering, you can get burning with this peel, so please really take into consideration the peel, the pH. And some people are like, well, I use 70% glycolic. And I'm like, well, that is great. I used 70% a while back. And the reason why I didn't like it was because I couldn't control it. And 70% would burn some people and scab some people and cause blistering in some people. And it was just not controlled. I like controlled. I like my results to come out the way I want them. So 15 and 30% glycolic that we use for pre-prep is actually a perfect pre-prep. So we'll pre-prep with that. And then with pigmentation, I love to use salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is the beta hydroxy family. So we have a neutralizable beta hydroxy. Beta hydroxy usually neutralizes itself and can stay on the skin. We ask that you actually put this on and then neutralize it and take it off within about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. What this does is the salicylic actually breaks up that bond of the discoloration and just gives a brighter skin. So pre-prep with glycolic or pre-prep with lactic, and then do your salicylic. If somebody has really thick skin, and we talk about orange peel skin, so orange peel skin is kind of where you can see the pores. I will even finish this treatment with a third peel, which would be prep with glycolic for a minute, clean the skin, dry the skin, then put the salicylic on, leave the salicylic on for a minute to a minute and a half, neutralize that, dry, and then put a lactic on top of that, which is a 30% lactic, and then neutralize that after about a minute. And I will have a bright skin, but this has to be done on somebody that has thicker skin, not someone that has super thin skin. Super thin skin and dry skin will actually be dry and flaky for a couple more days doing this treatment. Will it be bad for them? No, but you do risk burning them by doing this triple peel. Rosacea skin. Now there's only a couple treatments out there for rosacea to actually keep rosacea under control. If you can keep rosacea under control, you can actually kind of help it, kind of soothe it for a little while. I have patients that have rosacea that come every 4 weeks. The reason why they come every 4 weeks is because they find that that keeps the rosacea from flaring. When the rosacea flares up, you will have heat, you will have warm, you know, the skin will feel warm to the touch, you will have flushing, you will have redness, you will have a chap. When you feel that skin, you'll feel like this layer of chapped skin on top of it. That is when you do not want to peel. That is a time when they need to go to the doctor and they need to get on a prescription or an antibiotic to get that flare up to go down. Once the flare up is under control, then you do this kind of treatment. I've always found that pumpkin peel does really well with rosacea skin. I used to use the pumpkin meat that had that was dark, and it had a yellowish color, brownish color to it, using the actual pumpkin and the enzyme together and putting it on the skin. The problem with that was I could not see through that color to watch the skin to make sure the skin wasn't being over exfoliated. So by the time we removed that, we'd have frosting. And when I talk about frosting, I mean a blistering. So the skin has separated and you have this white film on the top. And that is what I call frosting. That will heal, but it will cause a little bit of downtime. And it's not usually what somebody with rosacea wants is downtime. So with rosacea skin type that is not stimulated, which is not flared up, I will put them on a routine where I do a pumpkin peel or a lactic peel on them every 4 weeks. The pumpkin peel is clear. It has a 1.9 pH. The enzyme along with the glycolic combination really helps keep that rosacea under control. If you want to err on the cautious side, you can use the beta hydroxy, the lactic on there, neutralize it after a minute or two, and it'd be beautiful. Can you combine both of those? You can on somebody with thick bulbous rosacea where like in the nose, they've got a lot of texture, in the cheeks, they have a lot of texture. That is when you would combine and do a double peel on those. Acne scarring. So acne scarring, we do a lot of acne scarring. We do a lot of peeling on acne scarring, but we also are going to go into some needling and talk about needling work. And I do a lot of laser on acne scarring. There has been a lot of advances in acne scarring, and you really can get somebody with acne scarring quite a bit of results so that they're happy again, because the acne scarring is embarrassing. It has sometimes pigment to it, so you have reds and you have browns along with pitting. So how do you handle that? I usually like to start with a series or a couple of peels of Jesner. So Jesner peel is a layered peel that's put on. When I say layered, don't play with this peel. Go by manufacturer instructions. If manufacturer instructions say 6 to 8 layers of Jesner peel, that's what you want to go with. So basically what this does is it goes onto the skin. It kind of starves the skin of oxygen. You leave it dry for several days. Then the skin starts to lift, separate, and then shed. And you'll have a sheet peeling for about 5 to 7 days with this kind of treatment. Why do we want that? We want that because we have thickness to the skin and we have indentions on the skin. So we want to wound the skin, stimulate the collagen, and cause resurfacing. So we want to make sure that the hills meet the valley. So we want to plane that skin. So that's why we do the Jesner. I also like to double peel with somebody with Jesner as well. And I like to use an A+ retinol peel on top of them. So 6 to 8 of the Jesner, and then I layer a layer of the retinol peel on top. So this is like a retin-A or a retinol peel. So again, it causes more sheeting, it dries the skin, and then it'll cause that exfoliation off the skin. So it's a really nice treatment for that. Fine lines, wrinkles, as professionals, we know the difference between what we can do with peels. Fine lines, we can really do some damage to and get those planed off and resurfaced and really smoothed out. Wrinkles due to expression lines, such as the number 11s on your top picture. This is a muscle, and this is generally what Botox works really good with. So a combination of peels and Botox, we could really make a nice resurfacing on that skin, and Botox will address that muscle formation that's causing those frown lines, relax it, and then your peel smooths out all that discoloration and that unevenness and that orange peel to the skin. So fine lines and wrinkles, my favorite on a double peel is I will do a salicylic first, 20% salicylic. I will neutralize that. It'll buff the skin. It'll help with the brightening of the skin. After I neutralize with that, I'll go ahead over after it's dry. Remember, I'm keep saying after it's dry because water will neutralize any of your peels. Some solutions, you know, some companies will sell a fancy solution of baking soda and water. Water really does just neutralize the peel. And we encourage to re-cleanse after you peel, just to make sure you've got it around the nose and in the cracks of the mouth and anywhere that that peel could be hiding. Just by re-cleansing the skin, you'll get all that off. So dry skin, and then I will apply a 30% lactic peel on there. That 30% lactic peel just buffs it out and makes it beautiful. So any of that salicylic that's kind of taken that bond, softened it, then that lactic comes through and just polishes it, and they look amazing afterwards. And then we'll talk about aftercare and what we do afterwards to just add a little bit more to it with peptides and growth factors. So perfect skin, perfect treatment. If you want to do something like a Jesner peel, we would recommend, especially if they have pigmentation, doing the Jesner peel that has HQ in it, which is hydrocodone, which is a bleaching agent. This generally is done, again, per the manufacturer instructions, 6 to 8 layers of this, drying in between. It really gets in there. It starves the skin of oxygen, causes the skin to then loosen and then crack and then kind of lift. And it takes that staining with it, especially if it's sun damaged, like the top visual that you have of that client. She got an amazing result. I don't have her before up there. I mean, you see just after one treatment of just the salicylic and the lactic that we did on her, how much brighter her skin looks and how diminished the pigment looks. The same thing with down below. That was just the salicylic and lactic as well. And again, you see the difference in the left versus the right picture, just in the amount of fine lines that are there. So this is what peels will do. Peels will brighten, soften, and even out the complexion. You could take it one step further and do a more dramatic peel. Like I said, the 14% Jesner peel with the Rebright. The Rebright is a hydroquinone, and then layer it with a vitamin A on top of that, and they would get even more results and more lightening. But this is a 5 to 7 day downtime, and not at first when you deal with Jesner. The first 2 days, your skin looks amazing. It's glowing. It's tight. You can wear makeup. You just can't put water on it. So you can wear powder. And then by that 3rd day, you look about 1,000 years old. And that skin then starts to crack and fall off. And then you start to sheet peel. So there's really, it's like a Thursday peel if somebody works. On Thursday and Friday, they can still continue to work. Or you can do it Wednesday night, Thursday and Friday, they can still work. Okay, by Saturday and Sunday, that's the worst times of exfoliation. And by Monday, they're able to go back to work. So again, your manufacturer instructions will tell you that. Orange peel. When we talk about orange peel, when we did an article on orange peel skin, we got so much response to it, because orange peel skin is that just like what it sounds like. If you peel an orange, you look at the inside and you see that kind of porous look. That's what really happens on the chin and some cheeks of some people, the nose. That orange peel, people don't want that. They want to plain that. I mean, when you look in magazines, beautiful, smooth skin is what people want. You can get a few lines and wrinkles in there, but they overall want that smoothness to their skin. So what is best treated for orange peel texture skin? Glycolic. Glycolic helps plane that skin down, and 30% glycolic is perfect for that. So I will generally do a salicylic, 20% peel first, neutralize that, dry the skin, then put the 30% glycolic on there. After about a minute, neutralize that, remove it. Jesner is not a 3rd step to this. Jesner is just another option that you can do for orange peel skin that gets an amazing result, but I would not do this beforehand. You could prep with glycolic before you do a Jesner peel, but you really want that skin to be nice and clean before you do any of these peels. And I suggest when you do any of your peels that you use a salicylic toner or something that dries the skin and dries all the oil off the skin. Because if you have an oily skin, and orange peel skin tends to be oily sometimes, you've got to dry that oil, or else that oil will neutralize your peel and your peel will not be as effective. So make sure that you pre-prep with something that degreases the skin. Whew, that's a lot on resurfacing the skin and really double layering. I like double layering. I like layering peels. I find that the clients that I've been doing for a very long time, or the clients that have been in clinic for a very long time, tend to forget, because their skin's in such great shape, the results that they got from the beginning. So this kind of throws their skin into like another, in the hyperdrive. You guys still will have time. I'm assuming that we will all be able to get back to work May and June, which we still have time to do some of these dramatic treatments on people. If not, make sure you have your campaign in the fall around resurfacing the skin, double peeling the skin. I think it'll really change what you're doing in your practice, and you'll see a lot more results to your client's skin. So let's go into needling. You know, why needling? Why would we do needling? And basically, needling opened up a whole nother realm. And I learned about needling basically through profractional laser, so fractionated laser, kind of drilling tiny holes into the skin and getting a result. So basically, needling, there's several different types out there that you'll be dealing with, and several different needles that you can use. There's stamping. There's actual needles that have 12 and 24, 36 prongs to it. It's all wounding the skin. So basically, the philosophy behind needling is wounding the skin and the collagen rejuvenation that happens from the wound. So it's the body's healing mechanism that starts to kick in and heal the skin. When you heal the skin, or say an acne scar that's dipped, all of a sudden the collagen is pressing that dip up just a little bit. Again, the whole idea is for the valley to meet the mountains to meet the valley, or the valley to meet the mountains. You want to make sure that you have, I would say, you fill the mattress up. So a sagging mattress, you need to fill it up. So the whole thing with somebody with sagging skin, fine lines, and wrinkles is you have to build up that foundation. You have to stimulate that collagen in someone's skin. Why do you think they're doing so much injections with fillers? They're bringing that mattress back to a firm setting. So it's the same thing with skin. You know, we start breaking down in collagen, starting in our 20s and 30s. And then from there on, it's just a challenge all the way until we pass. And so what you really need to do is keep that skin stimulated. And how we found that you could stimulate that skin is through nano-needling or microneedling. And it actually causes that wound that produces the body's own collagen to be its own filler. So we have had wonderful results with this for skin. This is a whole another class on its own, but I did want to kind of go over the difference with you. I also wanted to go over like the benefits and the potential risks of doing it. I know a lot of people are sold those rollers to do at home. There's no way to really disinfect those. They've actually traced infections back to those. So you have to be very careful, and you have to be sterile, and especially now into the environment that we're going back into, it's going to be very important that sanitation is taken to the next level. So the difference between nano-needling and microneedling. Nano-needling is just basically enough needles to actually just kind of open the skin so that product or serums are penetrated a little bit deeper into the skin. They're usually microscopic. You don't have any blood draw with them. It's just more of like a stamping you've seen that is done with that. It just breaks the skin a tiny bit to allow penetration. It usually breaks the skin in that dead layer to allow penetration in a little bit deeper. Generally done in stamping, so it's a small little stamp. Micro needling, I wish I knew I was going to have like a visual. You guys had a visual of me up there because I would have brought some needles. Micro needling is going to be a tip that either has a 12 prong needle on there or a 36 prong needle. And you basically with your gun can gauge how deep it goes. You get 0.5 to 1.5 to 2 millimeters into the skin. And then basically that is how you really go after a fine line or wrinkle or an acne scar. You basically want to wound it and you want to cause a little bit of pinprick bleeding, and then that automatically sets the wound healing into response. And so that will then kind of push up that collagen, push up the indention and the wrinkles. We do a beautiful job around for fine lip lines when we do needling, and we generally do it with 0.05 or 1 on the gun where you set it, as in millimeters to penetrate in, and I like 12 to 36 needles, and that gives a nice planing and a nice puncture to the area for fine lines. Sagging skin, you could do the cheeks and it would help with that, but it's really meant for just targeting wrinkles and scarring. I do a lot of Mohs scars with the laser resurfacing, where I use a profractional laser. So it's heat and it is puncturing. And so basically what I'm stimulating is collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic because I'm adding heat. Microneedling, you're stimulating your collagen because you have no heat that you're adding, and you're stimulating the wound. So fine lines really improve with this. Heavy scarring, I would advise going with something more like a laser treatment versus the needling treatment. But clients love the results that they get with this needling treatment. Basically a definition, if you wanted a definition to tell somebody, microneedling is aimed to stimulate the body's own collagen production. When you do that, you reduce fine lines, wrinkles, stretch marks, the elasticity, and scarring of the skin. So you're improving all of that. Can you combine a peel with needling? I talk to a lot of professionals out there, and they do combine needling and peels. I just would like you to err on the cautious side of that. I never want you to use a beta hydroxy prior to doing a needling, because beta hydroxys leave traces of peel onto the skin. You needle and you open the skin, and all of a sudden you're putting that salicylic acid into the skin. Not a good combination. So if you're going to pre-prep with anything, I would advise pre-prepping with enzyme peels, such as your pumpkin or your lactic enzyme peels that actually just soften the skin. So when you needle, the needles go in a little bit nicer and they're not going into dehydrated skin. So that's how I'd use that. So I just want to put that out there. I wouldn't do anything crazy. I mean, I know some estheticians that are needling and nano-needling, and then they're layering with Gesner peel. And that is just too much, because that Gesner is getting into that bloodstream, and that is an off-label, and I don't know anyone that's writing that protocol. So, so just be real aware of what peel you're using if you decide to put them both together. Basically on contraindications. So contraindications, we talked about the channels stay open anywhere from 90 minutes to 6 hours, just depending on the depth that you do with needling. And when you do that, you basically irritate the skin. You can cause infections in the skin, fungal infections, active acne, rosacea. These are things, eczema, warts. You do not want to needle over any of these. You do not want to needle over a sunspot or a mole. That is something you want to avoid in those areas. You want to make sure that anyone that's on blood thinners, you don't do it on, because if you're going to go deep and you're going to cause a wound and you're going to cause a little bit of pinprick bleeding, they could bleed a little bit more because of those blood thinners. So again, needling is a whole nother class. I just wanted to kind of bring it into this combination of peels, because I think needling is very important when you're dealing with people with acne and fine lines, that you want to go one step further than just doing your peel or your double peel, but you're wanting to stimulate the collagen. It's very important that this is what this does. It builds that collagen right back up. Side effects, basically, a little bit of stinging, a little bit of dryness. Flaking is very common while you're healing for about up to 5 days. But in a lot of cases, if you're doing nano or you're just stamping, you're not really going to see much of a difference for downtime. I always tell clients or patients, whoever I'm working on at the time, please go right home. Don't go to a restaurant. Don't go into a public bathroom. Don't touch the sinks. Don't do anything. Don't touch your face, because those tiny tunnels, your skin is opened. And until that closes up, till the skin reepithelializes, you have tunnels that go right into your bloodstream. So you're more apt to get infection in that skin area. So I'm real cautious about what they're going to do. I don't want them to go out and run. I don't want them to go out and work out right afterwards. So again, we have a needling device that we do sell, and Sheri and I were talking about that in Esthetician Connection. That's a starter kit. Our partner up in Idaho carries it. It's a very good kit, and it gets you what you need, the instructions of what you need to do. And but really, consultation and aftercare, you really need all of that when you're starting to needle, because it's all in how the client, it's not the procedure. The procedure is generally easy. It's how the client heals and how it takes care of their skin and what they're using. Generally, when we microneedle, we use the hyaluronic acid. We have a product called Rest and Restore. It's a hyaluronic acid. It gives a glide, and it allows hyaluronic to penetrate into the skin. We also needle with an epidermal growth factor. So an EGF, it's a plant-based epidermal growth factor that just stimulates the skin to reepithelialize, to become younger. And then of course, if we're nano-needling, we nano-needle in all those wonderful aminopeptides and peptides for the fine lines and the wrinkles, and get those driven into the skin a little bit deeper to see some difference. Stem cells are also used when needling that seem to get a really nice result as well. I know there's going to be a lot of questions on needling, but we can go over that in the questions. So if you guys don't work with an ultrasonic unit, I think besides peels, the ultrasound is what I use and what our girls use in every single treatment. Ultrasonic infusion, exfoliation, ablation is amazing, especially if you're dealing with an older clientele base. Microdermabrasion, it has its area, and it really does work wonderful for a thicker, sun-damaged, orange peel skin. But once you start getting into a thinner skin that is vascular, that has capillaries very close to the surface, that they're doing a lot of retinals at home, or a lot of planing at home, or a lot of exfoliating at home, you really don't want to be putting a microdermabrasion near them with suction that's going to break capillaries or pull or tug on their skin. So ultrasound does this with ablation. So it does it with sound and water. So it's 27,000 pulses per second that vibrate the water, whirl it, and cause an exfoliation. So it causes that ablation versus abrasion. It doesn't affect the capillary walls. It will remove just as much dead skin cell as the microdermabrasion does. And you get a really clean skin. It'll also soften any sebum or blackheads or anything like that. How we use it is we use the infusion, especially after microneedling, to put in, like I talked about, epidermal growth factor, a little bit more hyaluronic acid, or some peptides or stem cells that we decide to infuse. But we also use it to just do it by itself. So exfoliation with ablation. The number 2 step is penetration of nutrition, where they drives it into the skin. If you've done a little bit of needling prior to that, it gives a really nice drive into the skin. And I advise doing nano versus needling, just because the nano just softens and opens some of the tunnels up, but doesn't cause any bleeding. So penetrating hyaluronic in there is perfectly safe. And then the last mode is called erase, like an erase wrinkle mode. So it goes a little bit hotter. You get the ultrasound waves heat up, and they put in any of your peptides into the skin. So you can drive peptides into the skin. You can use it around the eye area just to take that fine skin around the eye area and kind of tighten it up, almost like a cellophane. It's got to give a tight, smooth look to the skin. Ultrasound also does a lymphatic drainage. So it naturally, just through the sound waves, causes all of the waste and toxins to actually drain. So you get a more contoured look to the skin. Then people come and go, look at how wonderful my skin is. The heat tones it, and the lymphatic drainage kind of smooths it and brings that away. So, you know, potential risks, you have to be careful of somebody that maybe has a pacemaker in there, or a shunt. Those are the only things that you really want to be worried about. Also can't do this on anyone that's pregnant. That's another thing to go back to is pregnancy. You know, can you do peels on people that are pregnant? I prefer not to. There are some people that do a lactic peel, but you want to stay away from any type of salicylic acids. I prefer just to do enzymes on somebody that is pregnant, but salicylic acid has that aspirin derivative, and retinols are an absolute no for anyone that's pregnant. So really, like I said, look at the manufacturer's instructions. They should tell you who it's good for, who it's not good for. But Ultrasonic, I have to say, really changed what we were doing, changed the whole game with peels, because you can do a double peel and do ultrasound all in one treatment. So you get lymphatic drainage as well as exfoliation of skin cell, decongesting of pores, and a tightening and a firming. And people see the difference quite a bit after this. You know, here's my screen that tells, you know, can we use this all together? Cleanse, peel, nano-needle, ultrasound, and you can. You have to be cautious when you're doing your peels. I would definitely not recommend double peeling. Again, like we talked about before, nano-needling. I would do an enzyme peel, a nano-needle, and then on your ultrasound, the only thing I would put into the skin would be a hyaluronic acid. If I'm doing ultrasound by itself, I can do all those other fun things, and epidermal growth factor can go into the skin as well with the nano-needling. So can you do all of these at once? Yes. Can you even do microdermabrasion on a double peel? Yes. Again, it's going to be you knowing the skin, you trying to figure out the thickness of the skin. Is that skin going to be able to tolerate it? Again, going back to, is the skin sensitive? Is the skin hypersensitive? Do I feel heat? Does it look irritated? If that is a check, then no peel. Can I do ultrasound by itself? Yes, you can do ultrasound by itself on someone like that. It'll help soothe the skin. But when you add chemical, like chemical peel, to someone that's irritated or compromised, you're going to get a reaction. And the reaction is not going to be a good reaction. It's going to be, you could blister them, you could burn them, or you could just make their skin super hypersensitive for about a week. So, and that would take some cortisone or some calming products to get that to subside. Oh, I think I've just did an hour. So I know we're on for about an hour and a half. This is the bundle that is out there. And this was all the products that I was talking about that you can penetrate in with your needling, that you can do with your ultrasound, and you can do peeling on. So your peel pep, we're giving a 15% glycolic peel in there. Why we're putting an essential eye in there is because it has the oleopeptides in there, which are the really small peptides that penetrate the eyes, the lips, and the neck. And you can use that for penetrating as well into the skin. Wrinkle release is a 10% peptide. It's a roga amino acid in there that really gets in there and works with the contractions around the mouth, around the forehead. Another good product to use when doing ultrasound, or I wouldn't do it at needling. I'd make sure that the skin kind of healed over and then use that as a maintenance. And then the Rest and Restore. The Rest and Restore, 10% hyaluronic acid, that's actually put right into the skin. You could use it as a glide for your needling. You could do it after you're peeling to soothe the skin. You can put it in and penetrate it with your ultrasonic. It's all penetratable. So this is a good bundle. The only thing that I would add to it is the epidermal growth factor, which is the EGF serum. It's a professional size serum that we use when we're doing needling or ultrasound, and it just stimulates the epidermis to grow and rejuvenate skin. We do have that in a moisturizer form that can actually go home with the client to use afterwards, and we suggest that they do that, especially after doing a Jesner peel. It has a at-home strength of epidermal growth factor in it, EGF. It's called a regenerating cream, and that's always a nice thing to add to this as well. Again, if you guys are interested in that kit or for the needling, Sheri and I are going to get together afterwards, and we'll make sure that we get that on there for you. I think we've got a limited amount of those left. I think Marty said we have about 11 of those left. And it's just a really nice treatment to start adding. Again, check with your state, check with your insurance. It's very important. Even if your insurance says you can do it, but your state doesn't say you can do it, and you get a claim, then the insurance will say, oh, it's against regulation for your state, so we're not covering you. So make sure that both are saying you can do this kind of treatment. A lot of estheticians are doing nano-needling because they can't do needling, they can't break the skin, they can't draw blood because they don't have their medical director, and that's their state regulation. They can't remove anything but dead skin cells, so they'll usually do the nano needling and the stamping, and then that way they'll get product into the skin. So you still see plenty of results with that. We were happy with both of those when we did both of those treatments. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. I know that we were talking about, Sheri was saying that you guys were already coming on with questions, and we started seeing some of those people winning that the cranberry, or looking or going out and posting for the cranberry. That cranberry exfoliating gel, I have to tell you guys, has really been phenomenal, because all of our businesses are closed, and we talked about in the beginning, helping you guys through this time. So we do drop ships. We don't put our information in there to your clients. We don't save their information to market them afterwards. We have nothing to do with it. It's all you guys. And basically, it's called an at-home peel. So that bromelain and that glycolic in that cranberry exfoliating gel will actually sheet peel your client's skin. They use it 2 to 3 times a week. They put it on to a dry skin, and they sleep with it on at night. When they get up, they use a creme de crystal microdermabrasion scrub, which is the Dermabuff, and you guys will find that on the website, the EC website with Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts. And that creme de crystal from the microdermabrasion just buffs the skin the next morning. I know men love this product. I know my husband and a lot of his friends all use this product. It really keeps that skin fresh and smooth and soft without doing a whole lot to the skin. We are promoting that right now through our clinics to our clients that can't get treatment right now. And we really put that out there to the estheticians nationally to promote that to their clients as just an at-home, something they can do. Some other fun things that we've done is we've done this mask promotion through our clinics, and we've had everybody send in their best quarantine mask. And if they sent in their quarantine mask, like we've got them with dogs and husbands and kids and wives, they were really cute. They're for our social media, and they won a 24 karat gold mask, which is a phenomenal mask. It was really great to see how many people actually already use that mask. But that was a really fun promotion to do. So really get creative in this time. Amazon is shipping to all your clients. A lot of the skincare warehouses are still allowed to be open because they're essential, and they run with very few people, and they can stay that 6-foot distance, and you can be distanced from the people next to you. And I know in our warehouse alone, we're going from here to home, not even to a grocery store, not to anything that we're actually going in, and none of the people that work with us are doing that as well. We kind of stocked up in the beginning. We eat at the warehouse. We don't take out food. So we really try to stay safe, and so that we can still stay up in service, because we are servicing a lot of you right now that are doing phenomenal with the drop ships. And staying connected to your clients right now is very important, because there is a lot of social media out there. There is a lot of people posting. They're on the computer now. They're looking up things. They're looking up rejuvenating tips. There's just, I know I have all of my staff, and I have a few that are just doing phenomenal, just doing to little tiny pieces on, why our skin needs to be moisturized underneath the eye, or how to combat lip lines, or how to get through without getting eyelashes right now, or eyelash fills, how to regrow eyelashes. I mean, these are tips that your clients are looking for, and I encourage you all to get on some social media. If you don't know how to do social media, which I'm not really good at, but I have a lot of younger people in here that love doing social media, and my kids are always on it. So it was really easy for them to make little pieces to put onto social media for me. It's been a blessing to stay connected. So stay connected to your clients. Let them know you're out there. Let them know you care about them. Let them know that you'll be there. When you reopen, make sure that you have looked at your books and you have people in when you reopen, and just encourage them to do some of this fun stuff at home. And that cranberry gel that Sheri is giving away is phenomenal. You guys will love it, and love the results.
That's a lot of great information, Tina.
Oh.
You have lots of questions.
Wonderful.
Let's start with Tony. What is the best peel to include on microdermabrasion?
Microdermabrasion, there are several. So I like to pre-prep before I do microdermabrasion. So I will always pre-prep with a 30% glycolic or a 30% lactic. What this does is it helps break down that bond. It really kind of loosens that skin cell. So when I go in there and do a microdermabrasion, I'm getting like 3 microns deep in that exfoliation of skin. Or if, say, someone has that orange peel skin or that thickening of skin or sun damaged skin, I will actually prep with that 30% glycolic or lactic acid, dry the skin, microderm, and then at the end of the service, after extractions and kind of rebalancing the skin, I will then layer a thin coat of the A+ professional peel. It's a retinol peel. And for about 2 or 3 days, the skin will be a little bit dry, and then they will sheet peel a little bit more. So it's your way of getting a little bit more out of your microderm. Say if you can't, because the state says you can't keep going on exfoliating skin, that's kind of a little cheat that you can do to get a little bit more skin exfoliated.
Shay submits, I've always heard that glycolic is not healthy for higher Fitzpatrick. Please, if you can, explain why. Thank you.
So the reason why is because when you're dealing with glycolic, remember I said it's sometimes radical and in unbuffered form, and the higher percents like 50, 60, 70% act very quickly. So basically what it does is it goes into the skin and it keeps going until it hits water, and sometimes that's blood. And you can hypopigment somebody that has darker skin very quickly with a glycolic versus a lactic acid. So with skin of color or darker skins, Asian skin, Hawaiian, anyone that has that kind of descent, not that they're darker skin, but their skin tends to be a little bit hypersensitive. I will always go with a beta hydroxy, a lactic acid, a salicylic acid, one of those versus an alpha hydroxy. So it's just the fact that the alpha hydroxy tends to be fast acting and unpredictable and can actually blister or burn the skin very quickly, and then you have the chance of hyperpigmentating somebody or hypopigmentating them.
Okay. Kaylee asks, how many peels can you use at one time when you have acne scarring, and which one would you choose to start with?
So acne scarring, it really just depends. If they're willing to do a 7-day peel, then Jesner peel is what I would suggest doing for acne scarring, especially if it's not active acne. And that's really important. Like when you're doing these peelings and when you're trying to really kind of get rid of acne scarring or soften acne scarring or build acne scarring up, you really need to make sure that they're still not breaking out. If they're breaking out, then you're gonna keep that vicious cycle going. So you really need to, one, make sure they're on something like probably prescription wise to stop breaking out. Once they're under control, then doing a layered peel, like a 7-day peel for acne scarring would be great. and sometimes they'll have staining, so they'll have redness to their skin. So using an HQ in there, like a hydroquinone, to help bleach the redness would be perfect. And then, I mean, glycolic peels, lactic peels, salicylic peels you can do, but remember, when we're talking about acne scarring, we need to build that collagen back up. So not only do you want to resurface the skin, you want to build that skin, you want to build that collagen back up to kind of make that skin kind of come back up from sagging. Remember, the hills and the valley, you kind of want all that to meet. So I advise doing needling with acne scarring or a profractional laser just to get that collagen stimulated, and then resurfacing as well. So a combination of both.
Okay. Jennifer has a couple of questions actually. When doing SA or salicylic, then lactic, how many layers of each?
Salicylic. So salicylic it's just a one layer. So it's a thin coat and we suggest using a brush that is not a natural brush, but a synthetic brush. We don't suggest using Q-tips or gauze because that absorbs way too much of your liquid and you'll go through your liquid too fast. So the bristle being synthetic will not absorb any of that. So one complete coat all over the face, then allow it to just sit for about a minute, minute and a half, neutralize that, take that off, and then dry the skin. Then one thin coat of lactic peel, let that sit on for about a minute, and then neutralize that with water.
Okay. And her second submission was, what about staggering CIT with chemical peels? What is the recommended time period between CIT and peel sessions?
You could stagger them, and you want to make sure, I would say 7 days. So 7 to 14 days in between, especially if you're going to get dramatic with your peels. If you're just doing a light peel, like an enzyme peel, you can do them together, but stagger them anywhere from 7 to 14 days apart to allow for that regeneration of skin cell.
Okay. An anonymous question here. Do you do an enzyme in the same service as a nano?
Yes, I think enzymes and nanos work really well together. So enzyme first kind of breaks down the skin a little bit. It's kind of our way of, I don't want to say cheating the system, but it's our way of being able to do that service and get a little bit more result from it without breaking the rules of our state licensing. So that enzyme softens, and then you can go in with your nano and you get a better penetration because you're penetrating into layers of skin that's not so much dead, but it'll stimulate the live skin cell.
And this is from Angelina. You mentioned not to go over sunspots with needling. Does this mean if someone has a face with sunspots, they are not a good candidate for nano or microneedling? And if so, what is a better treatment for them?
Okay, that I probably was misunderstood on, because sunspots in the sense of like freckling and sun damage, you go over that. That is something you do with needling, but you really want to suppress those melanocytes, and you really want to peel those people too, because you'll get a better result with peeling than you will with needling on sunspots and exfoliation and suppressing the melanocytes. Needling, really, I would use needling more for wrinkles and fine lines. What I meant with needling is don't go over like molds, like anything active, any lesions that are active on the skin. Freckling, sun damage, melasma, you can go right over.
Okay. Another anonymous submission. Can you talk about the difference between buffered and unburdened?
Buffered and unburdened. Okay. So I guess it's just the way somebody just writes it. So buffered basically means that the peel is of your same pH of the skin, and unbuffered or unburdened means basically it's a lower pH, so it strips more rapidly. So I like to use the unbuffered, and the reason why is because I don't like to sit there all day long, and I want a result. If the pH of the peel is the same pH of the skin, then you're really not going to strip anything off. You're just going to soften it, but not really eat that dead skin cell off. So I always prefer to go with something that is unburdened, unbuffered.
Okay. Let's see. Latanya wants to know, do you have a guide for the ultrasonic?
Yes, we do have a guide. So we have a whole protocol. Actually, everything that we talked about is actually in our protocol book. And I know when a lot of people buy the chemical peels. They get the whole manual on chemical peeling and modalities with that, like blending microdermabrasion in with it, blending the ultrasound in with it, and even needling. So the whole peel manual has it all in there. So when you get that bundle that we talked about, or if you add a salicylic peel to that bundle, a glycolic, a 30%, you know, you'll find that our pricing is very reasonable, and especially for the quality of product that you're getting. And you'll get a whole training manual that will give you step by step, along with assessment pages, pre and post aftercare sheets, because those are all important, and do's and don'ts checklist, an esthetician checklist of what to do and not to do. So everything that I basically spoke about is in that. Okay. And that just goes out to anyone that gets chemical peels from us.
All right. I've got 3 questions here about the ultrasonic, so I'm going to ask them all at once.
Okay, go ahead.
What product do you use with the ultrasonic? Would you use hyaluronic acid with the ultrasonic machine as well? And how do I determine a good quality ultrasonic spatula?
Yeah.
What should I look for in a quality tool?
All right, those are all great questions. In the bundle, you have 3 of the products that we do use with the ultrasound. So they're basically proven to be penetratable. So hyaluronic acid, yes, hyaluronic acid is a really clean formula of hyaluronic acid. I suggest that you use that for penetrating with the ultrasonic. The essential I is a aminopeptide. Remember I talked about oligonucleotides, smaller peptides that penetrate around the eye and the lip area, neck. And then the wrinkle release, a higher peptide that really gets into the skin and helps firm and tighten the skin. These 3 products, if you have an ultrasonic machine, you can use those, as well as a fatty-based vitamin C, which is an ester C, vitamin C form that we use to penetrate in as well. And our epidermal growth factor, which is our EGF. You'll find that epidermal growth factors and like stem cells, you can also penetrate in with your machine. As far as finding a machine that's quality machine, you really need to just find a company that sells a quality machine. There's a lot of machines that you can get out there from just companies that bring in stuff from overseas. Just know that the cheaper it is, you know, it's probably not going to last that long. And, you know, if you paid $100 for a spatula unit, you know, don't expect that it's going to last you years. You really want to find a quality company. We make ours and we warranty ours, and we have replacement spatulas for them, because that is what will go out on your machine. It's basically, if you drop it, it's a ceramic kind of handpiece and it will shatter inside. So so you need to be able to have replacements or a warranty on it. Also too, a handheld unit and a box. The box actually gets much hotter. It actually generates more pulses per second than the handheld ones. The handheld ones are great for at home and great for portable facials if you're doing portable facials, but for the lymphatic drainage and for the tightening of the skin and for the tightening and draining around the eye area, you really need to have your box unit for that. Okay. I know there's several companies out there, but we, like I said, stand behind and warranty ours.
And Karen wants to know, is it safe to apply regular store-bought petroleum jelly to the vermilion border around nasal openings and corners of the eyes to protect them when performing a peel?
Yes, you can do that. And that's good advice that we teach people to do when they're first learning. But that's why I said on any of your peels, if you re-cleanse and address those areas, when you re-cleanse, you will take and get all the solution from there, so you won't have to do the petroleum. But petroleum is one that we do use. We also have what's called a post-peel balm for aftercare that has braha oil, petroleum, and shea butter in it. That's also very nice to use.
Okay. Estelle asks, are peels effective for skin texture on legs as well?
You can do peels on anywhere, and we didn't even go into that, but elbows, knees, legs, buttocks. I mean, people wanted to know about peels for underarms, for darkening of the skin. You know, maybe their skin is darkened from doing waxing or laser. You can do peels virtually anywhere. You just have to remember that the areas that have kind of maybe some cracks in them or some folds in them, you have to be very careful, because if that peel sits in there or gets too much, if it gets warm and stays in there, just kind of like why we protect around the lips and nose, it can actually burn those areas very easily. But glycolic peel we have used on arms, hands, legs, buttocks, backs, everywhere you can use, and lactic as well. It's very effective, and we've started doing a lot of body peeling now with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, let's see. Caitlin asks, for peel aftercare, is it best to keep the skin dry to encourage peeling or keep it hydrated? I've heard differing opinions on this.
And it's true, but it's different peels. So if you're using an alpha hydroxy, a beta hydroxy, a polyhydroxy, all of those hydroxys or an enzyme, you want to hydrate afterwards, because you're not going to get peeling after those peels. Those peels soften and dissolve the skin immediately in the service. So you don't want to get peeling from those. If you've gotten peeling from those, you've over exfoliated them or you've burned them. Your TCA, your Jesner peels, these are your peeling peels. These are what you need to keep dry. When you keep those dry, once they start to crack and start to shed, that's when you want to add hydration, just to help that process and that shedding come off. Also using something like a post-peel balm or a petroleum on them when they start shedding like that, it'll help protect that brand new sensitive skin while the skin is peeling and shedding. So it helps to come off a little bit. So it just depends on the peel.
All right, Hanadi, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, asks, how can we fix damaged skin from using the wrong peel?
Oh, that's really tough. So when people come in and they're over exfoliated, or they've been damaged, like, are we talking like hyperpigmentation? Because damage can come in a lot of different forms. It can come in red, irritated, inflamed, like dermatitis, a reaction, or it can be a darkening of the skin where it's been exfoliated so much that now the skin is responding in a hyperpigmented state. So both of those are very difficult. One takes, well, they both kind of take a medical attention. So if somebody is over exfoliated and hypersensitive and kind of looks like they're having a dermatitis reaction, they definitely need to get a steroid cream from their doctor. And the same thing if somebody is having a reaction where it's almost like they're over peeled and that skin is sheet peeled so much that now it's darkening. Again, they have to have maybe like a over-the-counter cortisone, or they have to seek the doctor for a steroid cream just to stop that reaction from happening to the skin.
Okay.
So
Jennifer asks, how many applications do you get out of the bundle? And I'm assuming this is the bundle the special that you've got going on the Esthetician Connection.
Yeah, that was probably it. So the peel has about 40 treatments in it. And then the other products that you are dealing with, your Rest and Restore, your Rest and Restore is going to go the fastest because that's the hyaluronic acid. So the Rest and Restore has probably got about, if you're using it at home, that's got about a month's supply in there for using it once a day. So it depends on how many times you want to use it. So I would say it probably has about 20 to 30 applications if you're doing a professional treatment in it. The wrinkle release, much more. You can get about 50 treatments out of there. Again, it's only spotting in certain areas, and the same with the eye cream.
Okay.
These are our retail size, and we did it to bring the bundle to a really good price to actually start with. But these products do come in a 5-ounce professional size as well.
Okay. Well, I'm actually bringing Sheri back on.
Oh, great.
Hello. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I hope everybody enjoyed this as much as I did. The information was awesome. Very detailed. Love the presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure you're going to have more questions. So what we can encourage people to do is when you're posting on the Esthetician Connection page with your photo using the hashtag EC Loves ARC Skincare, if you've got any specific questions, you can put them on there. And when Tina's on the page, if she sees any of your questions, she'll be able to address that for you. The other thing is the promotion that we have is on the Esthetician Connection website, which is awesome, but we also have the ability to add some of those items Tina was telling you about. So when you go to the website and you'll find that promotion, you can also go to the Advanced Rejuvenating Concepts Open Stock Program, and you can look through there, because we do get a lot of questions on where to find it, how to put it in the cart. Just whatever you need, you just put in the cart. Even if you put the bundle in, you can add those as well. We are going to have 3 of you lucky winners are going to win one of my favorite serums, which I'm going to go over here and show you. This is the glycolic. Here it is right here. It's got 9% glycolic acid in it and cranberry. It's a cranberry exfoliating peel. She talked about how you could apply this maybe a couple nights in a row. And then if you've got the Derma Buff, or if you add the Derma Buff, you can use that in the morning to go ahead and slough off the dead skin cells, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight and tomorrow morning. So 3 of you are going to win this. And this also includes the Esthetician Connection brush. The way you will do this is you will post a photo of you taking this class. Tell us what you thought of the class. I thought it was excellent. Post it on the Esthetician Connection Facebook page. The admins will approve it. Make sure you use the hashtag EC Loves ARC, A-R-C, skincare, and that's how we're going to look to see who we're going to pick. So make sure you use the hashtag. Tina, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm really excited you were able to do this today.
Wonderful. I'm glad to do it.
Well, I hope you stay safe and stay healthy. And we will hopefully everybody get this uploaded to the Esthetician Connection YouTube channel. So if you have not yet subscribed to the Esthetician Connection YouTube channel, you might want to do that, because when we add these educational videos, you'll get a ping, you'll be notified. So you won't have to kind of look for them as much. You'll know when we're putting them up. We try to get at least one up a week to give you some new information. Anyways, thank you to everyone who came on and watched this. Thank you again, Tina. I really appreciate it. And we will see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.